Hello, 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 and welcome to your Black Friday Living A Course in Miracles audiobook club call. My name is Jared Krebs, and I am calling in from San Antonio. Super excited to discuss chapter 2 of the audiobook with you. And why am I excited? Because I like to have my memory jogged by what you say and what you got from it. And I like to share what I got from it and just increase my learning. So that is why I'm excited about today's call. Please tell us where you're calling in from, your name, and why you're excited about today's call.
My name is Viola. I am Jared's mama. We live in Salt Lake City. We're sitting on the floor in our living room, and it is quite cold, so that's why I have a fluffy hat on. It keeps me warm.
Oh, I like the hat.
Thank you. I'm excited because I'm finding that this audio of Ken Wapnick is really serving me well for when I do the Course in Miracles again, because I wish I would have had this information way back, because now it just puts in perspective what the Course really does and how a student should be. I'm excited. I got a lot out of this chapter, and I'm just excited to be with y'all.
Thank you, Mom.
I'm Randy. I'm Jared's papa from Salt Lake City, Utah. No, chapter 2 is awesome. I mean, it was a little harder to grasp all of his concepts, or a few times we had to skip back 30 seconds or a minute just to make sure that we did pick up all that what he was covering. But yeah, some very, very deep stuff on guilt.
Right? Thank you, Dad.
Welcome.
Oh, hey, it's me. Hey, Nathan Lively in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm Jared's brother from another mother, and I'm excited to be here to talk about chapter 2, and I don't know, I'm just guessing that Jared probably has like some awesome forgiveness lessons from the city of Sten, so I guess I'm looking forward to that.
Dude, I listened to Nathan to the last recording. I listened to the whole...
You got roasted on the last recording.
I got roasted, bro, at the very end. Oh, man, it was so funny. You were on a roll, though. I got to give it to you, Nathan. You were just on, you were on one last week, man. Like, everything you did was so funny. I was, like, cracking up.
That's funny.
So, anyway, man, yeah. What?
He told me he had 7 kids.
I know.
I believe him.
And he gave Angela a hard time and said he was more special than Angela, and I liked your roasting of me. That was good. And your forgiveness lesson of that chick that was like going crazy on social media on you, man. So
yeah, last week was a doozy.
All right,
what's
cool.
The Chinese curse? You shall be blessed with interesting times.
I never heard that one. Well, let's get right into it. Chapter 2 talks all about guilt. And it's kind of like you have to go through the darkness to get to the light. The things that I remember from it is that I can't just look at the world through rose-colored glasses and see how beautiful and awesome the world is. Before I can really get through that, I have to look at my own hatred and my own ego, but mostly my own hatred. I think that was like the main thing. And I don't know exactly how to look at my own hatred or my own fear or my own, they called it the unholy trinity of sin, guilt, and fear. And sin, guilt, and fear are, I just thought that was interesting that they call it a trinity. I've still been looking at people like, you are Christ, pure and innocent, all is forgiven and released. I know that that's really, really important. But I just like Ken Wapnick's practicality. And I also like the part where he says, if you didn't do your Course in Miracles lesson today, or you didn't read your Course in Miracles book, but you notice how resistant you are to reading it, you had a very productive day. Because that notice of how resistant you are of reading it is actually a notice of the ego.
Yeah, that's good. He says that a good Course in Miracles student is a bad Course in Miracles student that forgives his mistakes.
Yeah, that just keeps going, right? Yeah. And actually that applies to me this week because I have not actually read my Course in Miracles manual that you know how I bought the extra Ken Wapnick manual that, like, I finished chapter 17, but now I'm reading the manual about chapter 17 from Ken Wapnick. And I haven't read it since Tuesday. So it's Friday. I've taken like 3 days off. I got to get it in. But I've managed to be very, very busy and avoid reading it. So I'm a great Course in Miracles student, failing forward. But yeah, those are the main points that I got from the audiobook. I'm kind of glad to get to chapter 3 because I want to hear some more of the positive stuff. But it is nice to know that the negative stuff is okay and necessary to moving forward with this. And it was cool to hear like how the whole world doesn't want to do this, and starting Course in Miracles groups like what we've done here. Although I like our group, I think our group's good. I forgive you all. But all right, so that's what I got to say. Who wants to go next?
Hey, I can go next. I always go last, but I can take the initiative.
Got this.
Let me open up my notes real quick. I wasn't prepared, but then I thought I'll do it. All right.
Notes.
So that's right. I wrote down a couple things because this one's so long. Let's see. Your anger comes from your interpretation. It's your interpretation of what your eyes see that's important. So these first couple of chapters have been really good for me on this subject. And even like I've been reading Gary's new book too. And just this idea that everyone sees the same thing, potentially, like the light entering their eyeballs maybe. But then it's their perception of it and their judgment of it that makes it what it is in their mind, either painful, pleasurable, nothing at all, whatever. So that really spoke to me, and I've been thinking about that this week. Like when stuff happens, I think like, this is upsetting at first, but if it's not real, then I can choose to feel differently about it. And I don't know if he talked about pain in this chapter already, but every time they say anything about pain, I'm like, my ears perk up, and I'm like, oh, I can change my mind about pain too.
Pleasure and pain are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Very end, yes.
And I used to go to a group that was really into Kenneth Wapnick and didn't know anything about Gary Renard. And a couple of the women had actually studied with Ken, and they ran a bookstore that sold his books, and they thought he was like the next best thing since sliced bread. And they thought he was amazing. And I was like, yeah, he's okay. Like, obviously he's written all these books. I haven't really gotten into it that much, even though I own a couple of them. But then I was reading Gary's book recently and found out that he was actually enlightened before he died. So now, I don't know why, but that sort of changed it for me. And now I'm like, oh, maybe I should, now I care more all of a sudden. But, it's just what it's like being a body in the world. Like, you have some credential like enlightened, and now I care more about what you say.
So what book was that he says that?
In Gary's new book, he asked Sartan and Persa if Kenneth Wapnick was enlightened before he died.
Of course
like, hell yeah.
Of course he was. I love Ken ever from the beginning. I don't really know. I haven't gotten that far in Gary's book, but of course he was.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know why I was like, I'm just a judgmental guy.
Oh, aren't we all?
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that, though. I didn't know that. I haven't read Gary's new book yet. I haven't
Oh
even
man,
got
it's so good.
it.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet. Okay, Mom, Dad.
Okay, one thing that I picked up on it is the world is our classroom, relationships are our curriculum,
Yes.
and Jesus is the teacher. Yeah, that was very big, because that every day that we wake up, we're students in this world classroom of our world, and based on our relationships or what we come across throughout the day is the curriculum to our world
Yep.
classroom. And
Wasn't it cool how he was talking like he was the Holy Spirit, and he's like, "Don't go quit your job. I need to be able to teach you." And he for a minute I'm like, is Ken talking? Like, as Ken?
Oh my God, I'm sure everyone thinks they're talking directly to him because I felt the same way.
Yeah, I'm like,
What? What?
man, Ken's going hard right now.
right.
Don't quit your job. Don't leave your relationship. I can't do what I want.
Yeah, and I love like the cheesy music, like the it
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
like
You think it's
Oh
over?
my God, so bad.
it sounds like a Casio piano, like doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. And then it's like, and don't quit your job, because that could actually be a hindrance. Okay, let's go back to Kenneth. Like, I love how the guy gives advice. The little music guy. Sorry.
You may want to try thinking about this with the Holy Spirit. I'm like, you may want to try getting out of the way so we can listen to the show.
Exactly. I think
Oh
the other
man,
key
I,
thing-
I love it, dude. It's the charm of it all. Yes.
It is. The other one was existence is my identity is my ego, and my ego is my guilt. That was
Say that again.
existence is my identity is my ego, and then my ego is my guilt. That was about a quarter of the way in when I was talking about how everything you perceive in this outside world.
Wow. I missed that one. I don't remember that one. I do remember him. Do you remember him talking about like how your ego, you basically stole from God? Like you created this body, and did he say stole from God?
Yeah, you did. You stole it from God. Uh-huh.
Like, isn't that harsh? I mean, but it's good. And it makes me, we're so identified with our bodies, and our body is the home to our ego.
Right.
Oh, man,
Good
Yeah,
chapter.
this was a good chapter.
this
Dad
was.
and I discussed it. Like, I seriously listened to it once, like early last week, and I was like really upset because I thought we're supposed to focus on all this negative stuff. Like, it really was like, I really need to listen to it again because I need to put this into perspective, because that's what I was like, I know you have to see that, but it was like, but you need to really see that. Like, are you focusing on? So Dad and I would have these discussions, and he was like,
Mom
well,
would stop the
why
tape.
do you want to focus on all this negative stuff? And I said, no, you're not really focusing on it. Like, so I'd stop it and I'd explain. And so basically the way I got around it, the negative part, is that it's the purpose of the world. You have to view the purpose of the world, what it is really there for, is a classroom. And in order for you to see and be able to see the light, you have to bring the darkness to the light, not the light to the darkness. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get it. Because I've had a lot of dark moments coming to the light. And these have happened, like, as a little kid. I had like a little, really good childhood, and everything was grandiose, and there was really no reason for me to grow spiritually at that point. But then I met your dad. So this is kind of like how I'm relating it to the field.
The darkness.
The darkness was not dad, but his mother.
Yeah.
Okay. And this person was like in my life all of a sudden, and she was like, she hated me. And
you had never had that. You had never dealt with anything like that.
And I had this person that hated me. And if I wouldn't have had this person that hated me, I would have never been able to grow because I had to see all that hate. And then, you know, as you go through life, you get hate from this, you get hate from that. And so after a while, it's just a culmination of all these bad things that hate, that really you have to see that before you can see the light. But it's not so much that you are trying to see that and focus on that. It's that I want to be able to recognize the world for what it is. And the world is neither grandiose, nor is it hate. It's just a classroom. It's just a classroom. And that's how I was able to get through this chapter, because at the very beginning I was like, I got to see this again. And I'm so happy because now I can do the course again. Like, I'm not going to even start the course until I finish all of these audios from Ken Wapnick, because then I know what my place is in doing the course. Before, you're just like randomly doing the course and you don't even know, and you're thinking it's all an illusion. So what I got out of this chapter as well is that if I think everything's an illusion, then I think I'm an illusion. And that's going to make me step backwards than forwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I took like 6
Yeah. And
months.
Val, can I say something about what you said?
Of course.
I don't know if you feel exactly the same way, but I feel like I keep learning this principle that sometimes I'll forget. And you know, that he talks about moving backwards and forwards in the course. Sometimes I forget and I think, oh, A Course in Miracles, I need to stop judging everything. I need to stop judging people. I need to stop judging my friends. And then I listen to this stuff by Ken Wapnick and I'm like, oh, no, it's not that I need to change my behavior necessarily.
Oh.
It's that I need to bring those judgments to the Holy Spirit and say, like, hey, look, this is a judgment that it's that I don't hide anything. It's that I share all of that stuff openly with me, because the things that I hide are the things that the Holy Spirit can't help me with. So I think that's like I don't know if that's level confusion, but that's sort of like moments of confusion and clarity that I go back and forth between, like, I need to stop judging. Oh, no, wait, I just need to make my judgments clear with the Holy Spirit.
What? And it's probably recognition is probably the word. You're kind of recognizing it, but you're not judging it, but you know you're aware. You're aware of that person you're judging. You're aware of that, and you have to bring that to that dark awareness to the light in order for the Holy Spirit to be able to do his work, in order for you to not get your ego to get stuck here forever by ignoring it.
Yeah.
Or denying it. What did he say about deny? He said something here. Denial is not a spiritual state. It does not undo guilt if you deny, and it does not protect it. So very few are going to do the course. That's when he said very few will do the course. So here it says, your hatred is inside your mind and not outside your mind. Before you can get rid of it, before you can perceive this world as it really is, you need to look at the hatred. You must choose against the hatred and bring the darkness to the light. If you don't look at it, it will not go away. It will not disappear. So if you ignore it, I see something bad happens in the world, and we just like ignore it and just say, what are we having for dinner? It's not that you're ignoring it. So this was a confusion for me, like seriously, but now I get it. So I really get it, that the world is just a classroom, and that
Right. I feel like
What's that? I am
Nathan,
class.
Nathan, are you there?
the script or change my things in the world is maybe a form of ignoring the path that I'm on and the lessons that I'm supposed to learn.
You broke up.
We didn't hear the first part of what you said.
What I just said was so important. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry I interrupted. I wanted to say that I think maybe me trying to change my behavior and change my path in the world and act like I'm not the person that I am or something, maybe a form of denial or trying to ignore the lessons that I'm supposed to be learning.
Possibly. Yeah. Yeah, the world is simply the classroom. What is this? You can't choose love until you get rid of the hatred. And you believe you're unholy, and you're not supposed to pretend everything is okay. That's what he said. By denying, you're believing in the illusion. So if by denying it and not focusing on the hatred, you're actually believing in that because you don't want to, like, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. So like, it's like, I don't want to look at my own guilt. By not looking at the guilt that's out there, I'm denying my own guilt. And
Hey, Nathan, can you go on mute? We hear the wind.
Yeah, let me figure that out.
Okay.
yeah, I thought this was just such an excellent chapter because how you got to see, and then when you explained all that, like every day we have, even if you have cancer, even if you have, like, to me, this is the worst, right? This is like, to me, the worst scenario is to get cancer and you're fighting for your life and you're, you know, you have all these other lessons, but to me, cancer is the worst thing, but that's just me saying that. If I don't, so this is also teaching me a lot of lessons where it's brought this to the light. It's brought this bad, horrible thing to the light. And now the Holy Spirit can help me with my spiritual growth. Because when I remember a couple of years ago, I used to pray and I'd say, I want to grow spiritually. And I really wanted to, but then after then bad things would happen. And I'm like, maybe it's not such a good idea to want to grow spiritually because then these bad things happen. That's part of it. But I don't know, that might not be true. But anyway, that's just in my little feeble mind that I'm kind of seeing it.
It's definitely come up to the light, though. You know, the cancer you're bringing the darkness, i.e. the cancer, to the light by handling it on the physical level, but also handling it on the emotional level. And whatever caused the cancer on the emotional level is being brought up to the light right now, too.
Right.
And
right.
You're doing so awesome with that, you know? And it's more intense for you than it is for us because we're not so physically challenged right now. Yeah. But at the same time, it's a very, very big opportunity that you're just taking advantage of and excelling in. You know, Crystal went through it and really succeeded, you know, but she had a lot of darkness, like emotional darkness stuff that she had to clear as well.
Yeah,
you know, we all do.
Just because, okay, let's say if somebody dies from cancer doesn't mean that they didn't succeed in it. You could.
Yeah, like Ken Wapnick died of cancer, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. And so if you die, that could still be success. If you became enlightened or, you know, right.
Yeah, made progress. Oh yeah, we're all making progress, man. For sure.
At times. But I like the way Ken Wapnick talks about the student, how the miracle student really always falls into these little trap thinkings and thinking, well, if I could just say that, you know what, it's an illusion, I don't have to really take it serious, then then I'm a good student. But that just holds you back. That just keeps you in the ego state. And that's what I got out of this chapter, was that you can't just do that. We are living in this world. We still have to deal with our illusion that we made up.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Still have to deal with it. Lots of forgiveness.
Yeah, we had a forgiveness lesson we've just been dealing with in the last 3 hours with our insurance. Just to make a long story short, we were under the impression our insurance was going to pay all this money.
Was authorized.
It was an authorized CT scan, and then I get a call today from St. Mark saying, you have to come up with $3,400 because your insurance will only pay this much. And we're like, this is a huge disconnect. So it was like even the cancer patient deals with like emotional issues of stuff like this that I feel like I really don't want to deal with, but
Nor should you.
nor should I. But anyway, nevertheless, I had to deal with forgiveness.
So what happened? Are you having to pay for it, or?
It's not resolved.
We don't know.
We don't know.
She's got to go through it on Monday anyway.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
Have this late on a Friday is kind of.
They authorized it like 4 days ago, and then now
The hospital accepted it.
the hospital said okay, and then I get a call this afternoon, which gives us no time to negotiate or whatever, and says you got to come up with $3,400 for 2 CT scans, and on Monday, and so anyway, it's just a forgiveness. I figure if I live through all this cancer, I'm just going to have all these forgiveness lessons afterwards to keep. I mean, it's not going to end for us. We're on this world, right?
You're right.
No matter how much we learn.
There's always that's what light. Remember, Disappearance of the Universe says the ego created problems, never-ending problems. When you solve one, then you got to solve another. Then you got to solve another.
That's why we have to keep bringing it to the light, but just understand that it's a classroom type of environment.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, your biggest treasure is your forgiveness lessons. You know, and the ability to have peace throughout those challenges, and to not let it lose your peace, because nothing can take away your peace.
Right.
Yeah. That's why we're so lucky to be studying this stuff, really.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, it's awesome. All right. So forgiveness lessons in the field. I guess you started the theme there, Mom.
She did.
So forgiveness lessons in the field. I've had a few. Last night was it last night or 2 nights ago? Crystal wanted me to, or needed to change the kitty litter, and it was like midnight. And she had all these things to do, and she was all, I'm like, come on, let's go to bed, baby. And she's like, I got to do this, and I got to do the kitty litter, and this and that. And I'm like, oh, I'll change the kitty litter for you. And to help, and she just wasn't that grateful. She was like, I guess, like just how she talks, I guess. And I got pissed off. I'm like, baby, you're just so ungrateful. Like, I'm willing to get up and change a kitty litter to help you get to bed, and you just don't even show any appreciation. And I went on this whole rant, and I was pissed off. And I've done that a lot to her, where she's just not grateful enough, and I get pissed. And I just noticed how I was kind of in the middle of it. Like I almost caught myself halfway through. Like I didn't catch it all the way, because I definitely was pissed off and expressing my upsetness of her lack of gratitude that I was changing the kitty litter, and I was changing the kitty litter, and I was swearing.
Yes, on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving, or the night before. I think it was the night before.
Oh, okay.
And while I was changing the kitty litter, I kind of caught myself like, okay, you're doing it. You're doing this, like. And I was able to kind of see my hatred. I was able to, and I was tired. It's like a baby when the baby's tired, they throw a tantrum. It's like I was tired, and so I finished doing the kitty litter, and I didn't let it grow into a huge World War II, III, whatever on the situation, but I still had to forgive that, and so that was some progress. That was actually a good thing in the field. But in the past, it's been a lot worse. If I feel like she's not grateful, we might argue for an hour, and I'm pissed the whole time. And anyway, so that was good. And then the other forgiveness lesson is we lost we had another real estate deal fall through today, another one.
Oh,
It's a smaller one. We only would have made a couple thousand each on the deal, but it just stings. It's like, oh, and then I feel bad for the buyer because the buyer already gave us the money, and I'm gonna still do what I can to try and help this buyer get this property, but like, it's just like, it just hurt. And so I just had to forgive it, and you can't win if you don't play.
I heard you.
So, but it's just like, I guess, getting used to the highs and lows. I mean, it's like you can't get not excited when you make a lot of money. You get excited, you know. And so just having to forgive that, and then just having to forgive like some of our decrease in our business sales on the USANA side, also forgiving some of that, and just, I still have to take action. I still have to build. But I think I'm getting to a point where I'm realizing that there's nothing that can take away my peace. Like, yes, I'm going to have ups and downs in the business world. And yes, I'm going to continue to be positive and take action and do the things necessary to grow in the business world. But I got a lot to forgive, and I don't think being a business person, or maybe that's just my thing, is I'm in business, so that's where I have to do most of my forgiveness. I'm not raising 5 kids or 2 kids where I have to forgive them. I have to forgive my business stuff. So yeah, so that's been kind of like some of my main forgiveness lessons. And then also allowing the sadness to be there. Like when I'm sad, like Kenneth Wapnick says, not to get rid of it, or not to like try and just do affirmations to get happy.
Yeah.
Just allow the sadness to be there. Allow the fear to be there. Like, I have fear. I am afraid of lack. And okay, I'm just going to let the fear be there. I'm going to take action. I'm going to forgive it. And it's somehow like, it's like a veil of fear. It's like a veil of sadness. And behind the veil is where I am. Like, I'm not trying to like destroy the veil. I'm sure the veil will probably clear itself eventually, but
You're
I'm
not
just
denying it. You're not denying it.
I'm not denying the sadness and the fear.
Right.
And really, that's honestly kind of where I'm at today, like just dealing with the sadness and fear, and it's very mental, and just letting it be there, and continuing to take action, and to continuing to put out positivity, as the best I can. So
do you bring it to the Holy Spirit?
yeah, good idea. Holy Spirit, I bring you all this sadness. I bring you all this fear. I bring you all this guilt, because I'm sure there's guilt there somewhere in the sadness and fear. And I give it to you, and I let you take care of it, and I put you in charge. In Jesus' name, amen. That's a good one, Dad. Thank you.
That's what I got out of the course today too.
What?
Bringing it to the Holy Spirit. But Mom talked about that already.
Are you talking about you're doing the course lessons, or what?
No, out of the audio, chapter 2.
Okay.
No, I haven't started the course yet.
So bringing it, okay, so you just from the audio. Yeah, bringing it to the Holy Spirit, that's really good. I do put the Holy Spirit in charge in the mornings when I do my true prayer, and at night before I go to bed, I put the Holy Spirit in charge. But that's a really good thing. Thanks for reminding me.
Okay.
All right, any other forgiveness in the field stories that you have?
Hi.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so good. So I have one. I kind of got this idea in my head this week as I was reading the Kenneth Wapnick and the Gary Renard that maybe it was a mistake for me to try and create a home business where I get to basically stop working on live events and just work from home. And that because I started hearing this stuff about how our forgiveness lessons are the things that happen out in the world, and you can't become enlightened by sitting up in a mountain by yourself without any people, because the forgiveness lessons happen out in the world.
Mhm.
So I guess the first thing is that I kind of just had this idea, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask the Holy Spirit if like maybe I should go back to working on live events and like just fill my life with stress and pain again to like to become enlightened. And then the thing happened to me that always happens to me, which is that then I realized that it's just another thing to forgive.
Yeah.
So that's the most recent thing. And then also, as I'm telling you this, I'm realizing that it doesn't really matter what life path I take. I'm not going to successfully shelter myself from forgiveness opportunities.
Right. Very true. Very true. You can forgive online just as easy as offline.
And I guess I'm just impressed with how over and over again, it's so easy to take something that someone says and like they say something so pure, like, forgiveness happens out in the world. And then I turn that into a judgment on myself. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I must be doing something wrong with my life. And,
Yeah, it's like the
that's,
ego's like, you're not good enough. You're not forgiving right.
and, now I'm trying to understand, why people like Kenneth and Gary are so worried about the Course in Miracles getting turned into another dualistic thing in the world, like a religion or a cult or something. And I'm thinking like, oh, that's dumb. It's silly. But I do it to myself over and over again in these little ways. So I guess it's actually pretty clear that that's possible.
Yeah. Great shares. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Mom and Dad, anything else? Forgiveness in the field?
No, nothing that comes for this week anyway. No.
No,
Okay.
very fun. Happy Thanksgiving, and no forgiveness there.
No.
It's-
Now I'd say Mom's doing amazingly well with her chemo, and these little insurance things, they'll get worked out. It's
Yeah.
key that she does get her CT scan on Monday, because that bases what we do either the next day or for the 15th of December. So it's got to happen. Well, if CT scans show that she needs more chemo, the chemo will be the next day.
Oh, okay.
The CT scan is clear or is good for the surgeon. The surgery's the 15th of December.
So the CT scan really does need to happen.
This is a milestone. This
For sure.
needs to happen on Monday.
Okay.
And the Holy Spirit will take care of the rest.
Yes.
all of it.
Well, all of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
All of it.
Monday's part anyway.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mom and Dad, for being on. Thank you, Nathan, for being on.
Thank you, Jared.
Thank you,
Of course.
Jared, for being on.
Thank you, Jared.
Hey, I have a really cool thing I want to share to end our call. Donna Dunham, I guess, I don't know how you say it. She was on the call with Gary, but she's one of my friends that I've made through Course in Miracles, and she's listening to the audiobook. I was expecting her on today, but she found that there's a PDF guide that accompanies this audio that we're listening to, and it's actually on the Audible site. And I don't know, like if you open up your audiobook, an Audible, and you go into the description, you can see this PDF.
Oh,
Um, but I'm going to screen share it with you really fast just to end our call. And what I like about it is that it actually, it kind of summarizes each chapter in a little page. And then, of course, in Kenneth Wapnick form, it has like a whole nother separate book. So it's actually ridiculously long. But there's this one part that's short. That's what I like. Hold on. Can you see my...
you have 30,000.
Yeah, 30,401.
All right. Can you see this?
Yes.
Living A Course in Miracles. Okay, guidebook. Important. Begin. Please save this workbook to your desktop. Living
Oh, wow, it's 110 pages.
116 pages, but wait, there's more. Okay, the table of contents. Do you see here how session 1 is only a page? That was the first 30. That was the first thing we listened to, and then we listened to this other one here. This last week it was only a page, maybe 2 pages.
Okay.
And look, this one's only 2 pages. This one's only a page. This one's a page. This one's 2 pages. Okay, so the guidebook, which is what we're looking at, the guidebook right here, is short. So I can read the guidebook. I will read the guidebook. In fact, when I post this in our Facebook group, look, you can read this on session 2 right here. This session focuses on your feelings of guilt and your subsequent projection of these feelings onto others. Oh, shoot. In order to grow, you must be willing to experience your own feelings of sin, guilt, and fear, and be willing to look at the darkness that resides within you. The tendency is to project your own guilty feelings on the world around you so that you don't have to fully experience the horror of your own perceived guilt. When you begin to look at your life as a classroom in which your relationships are the curriculum and the wisdom of Jesus in the course is the teacher, then you will experience your life from a much different perspective. Having the courage then to experience the darkness that resides within you is the only real way to remember the light from which you first existed.
That's why we have to look at the hate. So
yeah,
Randy's mom, who I perceived as being hate, I was looking at my own hate. And back there when I was 20 years old, I didn't know that I was doing that, looking at my own hate. But I had to
yeah. Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that in.
No, for sure. So look, number 1, make a list of all the individuals who you believe have wronged you in your life. Oh.
Yeah.
Number 2, beside each name, write down the wrongdoing you specifically believe they were guilty of.
Right.
Ooh.
Oh, my God.
Number 3, reflect on each name and wrongdoing. Do a personal inventory. Look within yourself to see when you have felt a parallel guilt. What personal guilt might you have been avoiding while resenting someone or something outside of yourself? So that's some heavy stuff right there.
Right.
This is good.
Because whatever you feel like they did to you, where have you felt like you've done that, or that you've done that you've avoided while resenting someone or something outside?
Obviously a lot in my life.
So, OMG. Number 4. I mean, heck, if you want to go big or go home, do these questions. Make a list of what is challenging you in your current relationship and career. Now, step away from the anxiety of these experiences and view them as life lessons in which the divine is teaching you a lesson about yourself. Reflect on each, then write down what your personal lesson might be in each case.
Wow.
Number 5, seeing your life's challenges as lessons can give them a very different perspective. Choose one of the above challenges and make a concerted effort to view it as a lesson. Record any new insights that you gain as you practice this exercise. Number 6, make a list of the areas in your life which you expect perfection from yourself or perhaps others. Can you choose differently? Are you willing to? How can you give yourself permission to let go of trying to be perfect? There you go.
Yeah, wow.
This is great to know. What
I
did-
know. And then
That's
here's
amazing.
session 3. So here's what we're going to hear next week. Session 3, blah, blah, blah. It's like another several questions. I need to print this out, man, so I can write in it. Session 4. So I like this guidebook because it's short, and I guess it's pretty introspective. I hadn't read that till just now. All right, so you guys are with me that it's about a page per chapter. Okay. Now let's go to the next book.
The next chapter, you mean?
No, look, Living A Course in Miracles, Program Excerpts Reference Manual.
Wow.
What?
This is heavy. So this is Program Excerpts Reference Manual. So here's chapter 1, 7 pages. Chapter 2, 5 pages. Chapter 3, 3 pages. Chapter 4, 6 pages. All right, so there's, I guess, more here you can read if you want. I don't think I'm going to actually read all this because I just not there.
Must be another book.
It's basically another book. Opening narration. So maybe this is actually what the guy in the 90s music says. As Kenneth begins his discussion, he addresses the concept of reality versus illusion.
Yeah.
He asserts that we have been and will always be at one with the divine. Okay, so that's the 90s guy. As a final reminder, Kenneth mentioned several times through the program that our egos are very powerful and most often resistant to change. This sounds it is for this reason our ingenious egos can make the concepts of the Course seem extremely puzzling. It is for this reason we have created the accompanying guidebook and program excerpts reference manual. We encourage you to listen and re-listen to the program several times along with working through the accompanying guidebooks. The repetition of the messages along with the uncompromising discipline, commitment, and conviction will ultimately enhance your understanding of the Course's great wisdom. And then look, Kenneth. And then he's like, I guess this is what he says during the recordings.
Oh, wow. So we don't have to keep stopping it.
Yeah. Someone just joined us. Welcome to the call, whoever joined us. (832) area code. Who is this?
Jennifer. Jennifer from
Oh.
Austin.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hey, doing good.
Good to hear your voice. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this call.
Of course. You're catching us on the last 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But it's all good. We're talking about the course manual. Not the course manual, the audiobook manual. But I will get you this info for sure.
Cool, thanks.
Yes. All right. So, all right, guys. So mom and dad, Nathan, you guys can see this on your computers that there is quite a bit of narration here. So I don't know if this is the entire, I'd actually be curious to know, is this the entire audio narrated? You know, I don't think it's the entire thing, but maybe it is. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they have all this stuff exist as both audio and books.
Yeah.
So maybe they
Well,
just copied the book and included it.
Well, they do call it program excerpts, though. So
Oh, okay.
maybe it is just excerpts from the actual audio. But it would be interesting to know, like, you know, what parts they actually have written and which ones they left out. So that's the basically the bulk of the rest of it. So I guess the guidebook is really the biggest impact. You know, I know that's what I'm going to do. So I'll post this in our Facebook group.
Okay.
And y'all can download this. But big thank you to Donna for bringing this to my attention.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's literally
Yeah, thanks a lot, Donna.
Yeah.
Now I got to do a bunch of emotional labor, huh?
Man, this is some heavy stuff. So I'll post that right now in our group. And then Jennifer, I will give you a call after because we're about to end the call right now, but it would be nice to catch up with you. But let's go ahead and end the call by everyone saying Have an awesome night, and God bless.
Have
Have an awesome night.
everyone.
Bye.
God bless. Love you all.
Love you all.